So we're going to get some China and HRE, which is a really interesting matchup, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna have to wait for the Delhi, um, but we are gonna jump into the next match. It's gonna be on Dry Arabia. Let's switch the scene. Then make sure that okay, I need to switch that one here as well.
So we have the vanilla of vanilla maps, Dry Arabia, which is one of my favorite maps in the game because it's just fairly balanced on both sides. So spawning on the west side of the map in the color red, you have Myriad, sort of opening up with the standard Chinese build order that we saw Gully Deckle use to move on to the semifinals with SAS there, and you're just skipping the IO and going straight for the Imperial Academy. Jumping over to the east side, you have Warsp1te with the Holy
Ooh.
Roman Empire, who is up to some shenanigans.
Yeah.
He has decided that he wants to play Dark Age, and why not? HRE can play Dark Age very well, and he's opening with the Dark Age barracks. You can kind of see his scout coming around and looking for the gold. And this is not this is a really good strategy coming out from Warsp1te because you're going to want those spears in Feudal Age to help deny Pro Scouts.
Mm-hmm.
So why not make him in Dark Age, be annoying, and if you kind of look at where Myriad has built his house, that house is vulnerable.
Yeah.
So you can really disrupt Myriad's sort of plan here with a Dark Age spear. The only drawback to this sort of play is your scouting pattern becomes suboptimal, right? Warsp1te did come into 4 sheep right there, but he had to go directly to the enemy base. He's got a suboptimal scouting path, and now he's kind of moving sort of where Myriad Scout was, though Myriad Scout seems to have left a lot of sheep in that path.
Yeah, it's interesting. So both players kind of even in terms of sheep. Warsp1te actually a little bit ahead with 7 to 4. You know, like I wish I had cows overlay with the sheep counter here that he created for the garrison. So that's gonna be make it a lot easier to observe things. But yeah, definitely a little bit exposed here, so he can hurt the gold. And so as long as Myriad doesn't have an IO, which I mean he will have soon, he is on his way to Feudal Age, get the Imperial Academy, and then he'll have an IO for sure. And the thing also with the HRE Dark Age aggression is if you're good with your micro and you don't lose your units, you can just pull them back and heal them up with the Predat. It does take a while, of course, you know, to move back and forth, but you still manage to save them. So that's another reason why HAE early aggression feels good if you can manage that.
Yeah, Warsp1te does need to make a transition, start getting over to gold, which you see happening right now. Only reason is Myriad is going up. He's got 4 on the age up, and these are Chinese villagers, so they build a little bit faster. Myriad clearly wants to get up, put down an archery range, stop this from really doing any more damage, and then move on to Pro Scouts. But I do think with this 3rd Spearman over here, it's possible Warsp1te could get the house. But we have the age up coming, but not enough wood to put the archery range down immediately, which is no big deal. But that is going to allow Warsp1te to get the house. So Myriad's just going to have to build a house somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean he's trying to repair it right now, and they're yeah, as you mentioned, they're super fast workers, very diligent. But yeah, now yeah, Warsp1te moving on to the villager needs to be careful here to not lose it. Um, and so overall, I liked it. And also the thing is, I think like if I would be in Warsp1te's shoes, and clearly he's a very good player. Um, but if I would face Myriad, I would probably be like, if I go for a standard build, I might not be able to pull it off as clean as I need to in order to win such a good player against such a good player. And so I would probably be like, you know what? I'll throw in a wild card. You know, I lost the first game already. I might as well do something crazy. And if I survive, like if I win that, I at least, you know, even the playing field. And if not, then well, it was a nice tournament. I had fun, and I did lose in the semifinals, in the quarterfinals, which is not too bad. So
That was such beautiful timing from Myriad there. The second the house went down, he was pop capped. He had a villager about to be produced. He got the village up the second before, so he did not actually take any idle time on his TC by being supply blocked. He timed it so perfectly. We have the first archer on his way out. Villagers moving over. Spears are obviously going to be repelled by this archer here, so Myriad has control of his gold mine again, but you know what? This is a win.
mhm.
This is a win for Warsp1te because Myriad, one, had to invest in an archery range instead of a stables. His pro scouts are delayed. And now Warsp1te can just go get horsemen and continue to apply pressure.
Yeah, and then also Warsp1te was able to use the spears to, you know, scatter and then kill the deer, so it's gonna be a little bit more difficult for Myriad to really utilize the Pro Scout build here with the close deer here next to his base. And again, like to my earlier point, like he can just pull the spears back, heal them up, and they're at full health. Then he gets the veteran upgrade. Close call here on the scout here, surviving with 1 health. So the healing factor kicking in and survive, like, yeah, making sure that the scout survives for another day. And yeah, he could, like, I would pull this one back here and just heal it up, because with 22 health it's not going to do a whole lot anyway. But if you heal it up to full health, it might do something.
Myriad playing with fire a little bit. His scout got ever so close to those spears where if they turn around they could have just poked him and he would have died. But first horseman is out. He's basically moving over to Myriad's base, and Myriad himself doesn't have a barracks, so he's not going to have a true counter yet for these horsemen, and they're going to probably cause some headaches and some problems.
Yeah, and for both the archers and then also the scouts. So the horsemen, they're faster than the scouts, then they're even faster since they have a little bit more movement penalty when they're carrying stuff. It's 40%, not 35 as it used to be. And so the horsemen in general very good at defending against the scouts. And this one is super close, like one more hit from a scout and it's gonna die. So this is, yeah, basically rendered useless. Then you have scouts on Warsp1te's side. He's going up with 5 scouts, so he get the, yeah, he did get the upgrades already, so he has survival techniques as well as pro scouts. So he can start scouting himself. So very nice opener here for Warsp1te in general.
Yeah, this horseman should make quick work of these archers, but it's a lot closer than I thought it was gonna be. That horseman's gonna have to pull back and be healed. Myriad's got to be happy with that. But again, both players going for pro scouts. It looks like at this point in time they're just gonna pro scout their own deer packs. Nobody's gonna be able to steal anything. But Myriad has no military. He's just got the scouts. So Warsp1te might be able to, but that horseman has 8 HP. The scout could just turn around and kill it. So no big deal there. I wonder what comes next in this matchup. Do both players go Castle Age and then fight over relics? I think that might be the case.
Yeah, and I mean, I definitely think, I mean, we do see the Imperial Palace, so there's no question if Myriad is gonna go Castle Age. It is a risky move, but I think against HJE, especially if you know that they're going pro scouts anyway, and so you know he's not gonna have a massive army at this point, I think that's a really good choice, because like every relic that you can take away from the map, I feel like counts as 2 if you're playing against HJE, just because like they would benefit so much from that, and so if you can deny it, that's just a huge win for you. And so I like going the you know, yeah, pretty fast castle play here by Myriad, and he didn't take a lot of eco damage as well. He didn't lose any villagers so far. This one's surviving just barely, And yeah, now reaching Castle Age. So one villager kill, that's the first one in the game. But then again, also losing a horseman.
Yeah, this is a really critical part of the game here. Warsp1te needs to get to Castle Age, and he needs to start getting those relics in. But Myriad's first to Castle. He's got 2 Lancers on the field. He's got 2 more in queue, and he's supervising up the stable. So he's producing a Lancer every 14 seconds, and he's going to have map control for a little bit. Warsp1te obviously has spears, so he's not entirely worried. But they are Feudal Age spears versus Castle Age Lancers. Nice little fight breaks out. Horseman obviously not going to do well here. 1 spear comes in, but that's not going to be enough. These 2 Lancers are going to make quick work of him. You've got Spearman from Warsp1te just kind of unfortunately losing his life trying to raid. And here's Myriad just kind of just streaming Lancers over, throwing them into spears, doesn't really care. These horsemen are not going to be good in this fight, but he needs more spears, Warsp1te does.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And now,
as I said in a different game later, early on, even if you have to counter units, if you're an age behind, it still doesn't feel great to fight against them. And if your opponent has more lancers than you have spearmen, it's gonna be tough either way.
Yep, Lancers wheeling around, taking aim at those villagers, but they dive into the tower. They are safe for now. Emergency repairs is intact, but they are idle. They're not doing anything, and the arrows not really going to do much. Lancers maneuver over towards the wood line. Charge connects. 1 villager down. All 4 villagers go down, and now they found the Age Up building. This is going to be bad.
Yeah, this is horrible. I mean, like, yes, he might lose all the lancers, but you don't really care. Like, he just delayed that one here even further for a couple seconds. That was a beautiful connect here with the villagers, getting at least 3 at the same time here. And he's making it out alive, so he's still like, he only lost 1 lancer, I believe, like 1 here, and then yeah, I think that was it. Like only 1 lancer lost here, and so he didn't. Did he pick? Let's see. He didn't pick any relic up. So there's like all 5 relics still on the field. So I think that's a little bit of a missed opportunity here for Myriad to go for the relics sooner. Okay, there's the first one. So one of them at least is on the way.
Yeah, he's got bigger problems though. Warsp1te has enough spears to kind of push these Lancers back, so Myriad had map control for a little bit, sort of lost it, but now you got the base archers coming out to kind of help with these spears, and they're fighting over these relics.
Yeah, I mean, relic is now like the thing, the most important interest here. A Wololo attempt. Oh, okay. Didn't want to commit to going after the prelate here. That was like, imagine you lose those lancers to your opponent. That would have been so huge. So we do have a couple archers here, so perfect against dealing with the spearmen. They're veteran now as well. So Myriad not able to bully his way with the lancers anymore, due to the fact that we have the veteran spearmen. And so 1 relic in place here. No emergency repairs being used here to repair that real quickly. I think you could do it. I mean, it's like a minute cooldown. Another Wololo attempt. So that's the 2nd relic here, and there's no units to defend that prelate, so that is most likely going down. But then he's also losing a lancer here, so overall it's not the worst trade-off.
Yeah, but it is going to be a 3-2 split, which I guess if you're Myriad in this situation, you'll take it. But Myriad definitely wanted to be on the positive end of the 3-2 split. But Warsp1te needs to bring his southern monk up, but this relic in the front of Warsp1te's base is as good as Warsp1te's. I don't see how Myriad could yoink this. Maybe he could. But Warsp1te has defender's advantage here and has a pretty formidable spear crossbow comp. Prelate is now out. He's coming, and it is a 3-2 split. Yeah,
so overall, I mean, it might have well, I mean, it could have been even like a 4-1 split, I think, if Myriad would have started immediately pumping out the monks. But then again, as you mentioned, like at that point, Warsp1te was pushing into his base, and so if he would have overcommitted to the monks just in order to maybe get one additional relic, it wouldn't have been super worthwhile. So overall, I think it's fine. He still got 2 relics. Warsp1te got 3. So yeah, I think both players came out in an okay position here. I mean, Warsp1te, even though he got to Castle Age a lot later, still got 3 relics. I think he's still fine with that.
Alright. Ever so slight mistake from Myriad. He had perfect micro to take the boar, and he needed perfect micro because he brought over 8 hurt villagers, but he did not build a mill, so those villagers are gonna walk 10,000 miles, which these little things happen. He realizes it. I can see him now saying that's unfortunate. It's like his catchphrase. But he corrects it, brings the villagers back, and it's not a big deal. But the micro he had on that boar, he brought 8 villagers over, and it was just, I was like, yeah, he's gonna lose one. No, he didn't. They were perfectly fine.
Yeah. And also, I could imagine that he, like, once the board dropped, he immediately built a mill. But if the board drops and if it doesn't sit there already, sometimes the blueprint can get deleted again. So you kind of have to be a little bit more patient and give it a couple seconds or so. By the infantry, yeah, that's like, I don't know, like this one wolf here was super annoying.
Fighty infantry are my least favorite unit in the game. They're just annoying, and when you have a lot going on all over the place, it's easy to lose track of them. So, but they're there for a reason, right? You have to have the APM to kind of deal with it. Players of this level do. Warsp1te in the process of decapping all these sacred sites. Gonna lose all of those spears though, as these lancers kind of come down. They're gonna make quick work of them. And for everybody watching back home, yeah, spears counter lancers, but not in equal numbers, only in equal resources. Which that was a slaughter in favor of Myriad.
Yeah, that definitely was a brutal slaughter.
Militaries are fairly equal. Myriad is gaining. He has a little bit of an eco lead by virtue of villager kills. The Barbican of the Sun is coming in, so he's going to enter Song Dynasty. And Myriad's on 2 TCs here. 2 TC, Song Dynasty, 15-second villagers. I think Warsp1te needs to counter this with the infamous villager printer, if you will.
Yeah.
Nice raid on the south side. Warsp1te sees it, pulls back. Myriad gets a little bit of idle time with those lancers.
Yeah, the thing with the villager printer thing is also that it is a lot cheaper to go for that landmark. So, I mean, so let's see, where do I have the villager? So, you know, like the Palace of Swabia is quite a lot cheaper than the Elsbach Palace. And so that's also one of the reasons why you sometimes like to go for it, just because you get there faster. Especially if you're going for a fast imp strat. And yeah, that's the thing, like you're like, oh, that's a great micro, and then like as you're saying that, he loses a couple and you're like, I'm just eating my words right now, so why am I even doing that? Yeah, by the infantry, hard at work here again for the monk trying to recapture that sacred site.
Nice little raid catch of the raid there. Warsp1te's horsemen sort of repelled. They find the Barbican of the Sun, and Myriad is quickly running away with his 2 TC Song Dynasty eco here. He's 71 to 53. Obviously, Warsp1te has that Aachen Chapel with looks like 19 farms underneath, so he's primed and ready to go. I think Myriad's going to start his sort of granary transition soon and get his eco kind of in this late game level. But yeah, this one has the makings to kind of go on for a little bit longer. I don't see it ending anytime soon.
Well, the thing is, so I think Myriad is in a, like as you said, in a very favorable position with his eco lead here, 20 villagers by now, and then yeah, there were 10 idle for a brief period here for Warsp1te, and so overall I like his comp more. I mean the horsemen, I don't know how much they will do anymore if they're running into spearman archer comp here, then getting a cannonball to the face by the Barbican. And so overall, I like Warsp1te's military not looking as strong, even though his army value is in favor. And so I think, yeah, I think he needs Imperial Age. I would appreciate if he's going for the Imperial Age, Palace of Swabia, and then just pumping out a couple villages until he's, yeah, at least double the amount of villagers that he currently has. I think that should be the minimum that he should look for right now.
Yeah, Warsp1te is continuing to invest in his military though, so I don't think he's considering the villager printer anytime soon. Horsemen are going to find a ton of villagers on the west side on this little berry pack as they're playing musical chairs around it. But they're going to pull out their shivs. They're going to start fighting. Spears are not far behind, going to close off the retreat of these horsemen, and they're going to have to just run away as fast as possible. One more poke gets in. Another poke. Oh, those horsemen are going to go down on top of the spears. And this is where I think the transition to granaries is going to happen for Myriad, and Myriad's forced off the boar there. He got most of it, but he did lose all those villagers. And so, yep. West corner, you have the granary transition starting. Lancers over on the east side, gonna harass these villagers. There's 9 villagers, 11 villagers, and only 5 spots for them to hide, so
6 dead villagers.
Yeah, it feels like a game, Squid Games, if you will.
Yeah. Well, okay, so one makes it out alive apparently, but well, maybe, I don't know. And just that's the thing, like, you can see the difference in Warsp1te sending a couple of horsemen versus Myriad sending a couple of lancers. Because the 4 horsemen that Warsp1te sent, I don't think they killed a single villager here. And on the other hand, I mean, yes, he also lost 2 lancers, which is quite expensive, but he was able to kill a couple villagers at least. And so Warsp1te does have the gold. I think he should transition into lancers himself.
Yeah, he also sort of is banking. No, now he's spending the food, so he's again continuing to invest in military. Little by little, though, once Myriad pulls off this granary transition, it's going to get harder and harder for Warsp1te in this game. We've got a nice little battle here in front of Myriad's base. Crossbows recently got a nerf where they do less base damage, so not really taking out the spear front line as well as they used to, and Warsp1te's forced to pull back and come up with a different plan here. Crossbows are kind of cutting back a little bit, but that nerf looms large. Crossbows now have a base of, I want to say, 11 damage, and they have +1 against heavy, which Myriad, other than his lancers, hasn't really fielded. Men-at-Arms, though, coming in here, not really going to be able to save the day, as Myriad has 25 crossbows, and
yeah. I mean, what do you do against that? You kind of need a couple of mangonels or a lot of horsemen to deal with that. Or you can go with regular archers and then just rely on the faster move speed and stuff that the archers get from HIE. Yeah, so the thing is, like, I think it's important to note that the crossbows, they didn't get weaker against armored units. So as you mentioned, they did lose 1 damage in their base damage, but then they also have more damage against heavy. And so, if I remember correctly, it evens, like, it's the same against heavy armored units. It's just not as strong as unarmored units as it used to.
Correct. So if they're shooting a heavy unit, they still do the same exact damage they did before. The difference is if they're shooting a non-heavy unit, they do 1 less damage.
Yeah.
Which is great if you like to field a lot of spearmen, if you like to field a lot of crossbows.
Horsemen as well.
You know, your opponent's crossbows aren't as useful in that situation. Horsemen do find a couple crossbows on the north side by the sacred site right here. And Warsp1te's going to continue to tower it and attempt to play the sacred site game, but at this point in time, he needs the villager printer. Myriad is fielding in a very impressively sized military. His eco is well above that of Warsp1te's, and he could, in like 2 or 3 minutes, he could just put down production buildings in a move.
Yeah.
If he wanted to.
Yeah,
though, I do think he's going for Imperial Age. Just looking at Myriad's resources, I think he's going for Imperial Age.
Yeah, I mean, he's either that or he's just saving it for a rainy day and is just waiting for Warsp1te to make the first move with the Imperial Age, because he can quickly catch up if he sees that his opponent is going Imperial. This is a nice raid here for Warsp1te, but it's basically just a drop in the bucket. Myriad is still ahead 40 villagers. So that's what is that, like a 60% lead or something? I'm not doing math on stream, but that's a lot of equal lead that he has here currently. Dropping an offensive keep here against Warsp1te here with the gold and the stone being secured, and then also kind of opening the access to the sacred site as well. So nice raid here by Warsp1te, again killing a couple villagers, and it's kind of like it's nice, but it's not like, that's not a game changer. It doesn't really phase Myriad in any way. Great wall gatehouse coming up in this little section here, so that's gonna help as well to defend the granary farm transition. And again, the horsemen, they have their place in almost any army, but I don't like them as a raiding unit. I don't think they're strong enough.
They are an interesting raiding unit, mostly just because their impressive speed at 188.
Yeah.
However, when you kind of get them to your opponent's eco, they absolutely feel underwhelming. It's like, you're gonna die in 15 minutes. Because horsemen are really, you know, they're out there to counter out archers, which after the crossbow nerf, they do a better job of.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're more of a nuisance in your eco than they are a real threat. Both players have reached Imperial. The villager printer, I gotta say, it's gonna quickly catch up here. Where did he put his villager printer? So in the backside.
Yeah, I mean, it would catch up if you would use it. So that's the first thing. And yeah, now he starts using the printer. He probably needed to set up the toner first and put in some paper. But now he's using the village printer. So 7 seconds, also only 17 wood. So he doesn't have a ton of food to spend. So that is nice to be able to have so much cheaper villager production. But my goodness, he is really needing that as well. I mean, it's still a good 30 units difference here. Even though he killed 38 villagers, he's in the equal again with a couple of men-at-arms, which I feel they're better. They're doing a better job here than the horsemen. But then again, they're also slower, so the villagers can just run away. It's difficult. I don't know, like. The longer the game goes, I feel like it will be a little bit better for Warsp1te, but then again, the Imperial for HRE isn't also that great. And so...
Yeah, I was gonna say, until this Men-at-Arms raid, where he's killed a ton of Myriad's villagers, not that, you know, it's a big deal, 2TC, Song Dynasty. But now with the villager printer, he should be able to equalize here. The question is, can he do so on the military count? Myriad has a massive advantage over him, and you have bombards, you have some of the best hand cannoneers in the game, Chinese hand cannoneers. Um, you know, he'll equalize on eco, but can he equalize on military in time? And that I'm not sure of, because Myriad is posturing for a push here, and here we go. He's kind of moving in, and he's got Nest of Bees, he's got Bombards. Does he have chemistry in is the question.
He does. He does have no wait.
So
Doesn't have. Doesn't have
he
a
does not have
university.
chemistry yet. Either way, Bombards do a bonus 5 damage, and just look at how quickly they just eat through that tower.
Yeah.
Warsp1te has Springolds, which I really like Springolds against Myriad's comp. Myriad does not have a cavalry-based comp, so these Springolds should be really good here. But Bombards will be able to take him down. First Springold gets shot out.
Yep.
And we do have a Culverin coming out from Warsp1te, and we're sort of starting that battle of attrition at the front lines here, and I think Myriad's just in a better place to play this.
Yeah, and against the Bombards, like emergency repairs isn't even that great because it doesn't. Yeah, it's just not quick enough. I mean, I'm not asking for a buff. I'm just saying it's not quick enough to actually, deal with the Bombards. Horsemen again, a great flanking and raiding unit in that sense that they're the fastest units on the field, so able to get on top of the Bombards. Not able to take out the Nest of Bees though, so Myriad's army is still standing, Nest of Bees are still standing, and in the meantime he got up with the clock tower, the astronomical clock tower, and so he will get some even stronger, or more beefier, healthier Nest of Bees soon. And yeah, now he's camping the Archenchapel, and so this eco is completely denied and shut down, so that is very, very brutal. Also the relics here not in play anymore for Warsp1te, at least for the time being. And so yeah, that is a lot of eco damage basically done just by camping it.
But guess what? Warsp1te has men-at-arms. They just cleaned out Myriad's entire wood line. They're back in the farm eco again. Great Wall Gatehouse firing a shot on them, but hand cannoneers need to respond to this, and Myriad's eco took some damage there as well. So he didn't come out from that clean here, but Warsp1te, you can see his food per minute just slowly drained down as this Archenchapel being shut down is really hurting him. One of those relics is just sitting idly by. I wonder if Myriad's going to try to steal that.
Oh yeah, he's definitely trying to steal it right now with the monk here moving. What is he? I mean, the monk's looking like he wants to fight apparently. But yeah, he'll figure that out pretty soon. And I mean, okay, it doesn't matter anymore. But yeah, if you looked at the latest military count, it was like 8-1 in favor for Myriad and mainly hand cannoneers, and so doesn't really matter what you throw against that and kick out the prelate. Ooh, that would be such a. You know what? Like I actually like a while ago I thought about, like back in the day they actually took keeps and then just used them and they didn't just burn it down because that would be such a waste. And it would be so cool if you could somehow take over opponents' keeps. I think that would be, I don't know how you would make that balance, but that would be a fun mechanic to be able to keep the keeps, to take over a different keep, and then the Mongols would finally get the keeps. That would be so much fun.
Yeah, fun 1000%. Balanced?
Maybe
very
not
questionable.
so much. Yeah, but I mean, like they just introduced this I forgot the name. Like the game mode where you can like set get the different.
I have not played the new game mode. I've heard about it. I have not played it though.
I tried it a little bit. It's fun. It's just like strategy is basically going out the window because like sometimes you're like, oh, I get only bonuses for cavalry or siege. Well, I guess I'm playing like a cav only, even though I don't know, like Malians, and I'm only playing Sofas and Warrior Scouts then or something. So it's a little bit weird. It's definitely fun. But yeah, enough of that. Military count, as we see, that was just brutal at the end for Warsp1te here, not being able to do anything against Chinese really. I mean, yes, there was a lot of damage, but that was like under the TC as well, and so the eco Let's see, eco count. Yeah, just never recovered, and Chinese was just ahead all the game basically. And yeah, in
Yeah,
terms of resources, actually pretty close still, but I think the food was at the end the food was the issue, the main issue here. Gold was
yeah. I
fine.
mean, shutting down the Aachen Chapel when you have a forward Aachen like that never is good for an HRE player. Kind of Myriad did a pretty good job there early on with those Lancers. He had a really clean second TC timing. You can kind of see where his villagers just sort of spiked there. He grabbed the eco lead, and despite raids from Warsp1te, never relinquished it. So that was kind of a really smart play from Myriad, and led to his victory.